Saturday, and we have the time coming in at 11:27 in the a.m. on this May 20th, 2023. Hope you guys are doing well out there. I meant to up in a video live stream, but happen. I'll probably do something this week. Okay, don't worry. But I'm back today because last weekend we got into some conversations, or we got into some we got into the main points of what's going on in our bookends. That would be California to New York, or you can flip it, New York, California, whichever way you're going. Whichever way you're going, east, west, east, same difference. However, last weekend I was speaking to you specifically about the reparations, the task force. We talked about the task force, and we talked about what I consider to be an offshoot of the Divine Nine, in which, they said it was the California, the State Assembly, I guess, organized this group of 9 people. Basically, I've considered them as estate administrators, okay? So they were tasked with doing a study and, a study and resolutions, okay, for slavery, okay? But then last weekend, I also offered you a perspective on where blacks or African American, whatever you want to paint it, if you're listening to this and you're part of this under this umbrella or brush, that African Americans have been always a part of the back burner supply, and so they usually use somebody else to move them forward. If they're not moving, now I identified some specific groups, whether you agree or disagree. I identified, of course, the LGB, MOUSE group, illegal aliens, and also, let's see, I'm not sure what, the Native Americans, in 2020. See, this is also, it's very timely. This is very timely because you're in a selection season, or a selection season, or whatever you want to call it. These are political footballs, okay? They're just political footballs is what they are. At one point, you had it's the biggest push to get the black vote. And to me, it's always been, blacks have always, the pain of black people, or / African Americans, or whatever, indigenous people, whatever you want to call them or group them, they've always been used and known by their pain and not so much by their name. Okay, so this is no different. But last week we talked about what's happening with the California Task Force, which I said, to me, that inception was from Dr. Weber, who is the state secretary under Newsom, and also she was also in place at a time in which Newsom's recall session was going on. Okay, but now, so it looks like the development, the follow-up that I'm doing just commentary on this morning is going to be related to me. Now that they allegedly voted, this task force allegedly voted on the 6th. Okay, so now they're going to punt it down to the legislature in 6 weeks. May 6th, 6 weeks. If you guys are, shout out to Mr. Pearson. And I hate to be on right now because I'm missing that. But I'm saying that now that's in a holding pattern, which I think is going to blow up. Okay, I said that I assert this is going to blow up because these Divine Nine people that the Assembly appointed, this is what you notice that's a big thing, a bigger thing in this culture, society, in this realm that we're in. We're dealing with people that are selected or appointed on committees. Like, for one, which set of blacks or African Americans nominated these 9 people to be the connections, guys? This is a little bit of a mobile stream. But yes, I was saying that, you know, that the amount that came up was some 1.2 whatever $million per California. This is a very elite concept to me. Okay, so he quotes them, but then also he's going to give some non-committal whatever responses, because he still wants people to think he's selling hope, because he has allegedly presidential aspirations, but he's not going to go forward with any of this. And like I said, in 6 weeks, so let's look at it. This is a one to watch that I talked about. I'm going to do a one to watch series. In 6 weeks, let's have a look. From 6 weeks from May the 6th of this year, let's look and see what he comes back with. Because it's not going to be an approval. It's not. They're not, because they're talking about the state budget and this. What a deal, right? But what I was saying was, I don't know how long I've been disconnected there, but apparently this political football has been kicked down the chute, down to Capitol Hill, and Representative Cory Bush of Missouri, this is going to happen every 4 years. They are going to hitch black people's pain for their political gain. I think a $1.4 million, I mean, to me, the task force is not very, they're not quite economically astute or sound, because they obviously haven't included any factors of the actual value of the dollar. And not to mention, allegedly, we're going to digital in July. So how valuable will banknotes be? It's not backed by anything. So if you give a whole bunch of people 7 figures, and then in July, what, it's toilet paper, then what did you actually do? It's so funny how reparations, that carrot, has come up in the midst of a failing and floundering dollar. Like, hey, the British for a long time, but if you go there and you go there and you try to exchange the pound as you're on your way back to the States, because you're trying to keep the value, they're basically want that. We don't want your toilet paper money. So, you know what, guys? I'm going to come back and do this again later. This is a disaster. Okay, let's come back later. Okay, guys? I will come back. Don't worry. It's going to be a follow-up and in studio and more coming up. All right? I will see you guys ASAP.